moving on to a bit more of a regressive endeavor, we have a Mr. Simu Liu making waves on his appearance of Dragon's Den, where Simu was amongst the many sharks, or whatever the fuck the show is called, as an investor. It was on this particular episode, I'm almost certain for drama purposes, the shark dragons were approached by a boba tea company that claimed to be making a more healthy alternative to traditional boba tea on the market. That is a drink, at least in its modern form that I can tell, originates from Taiwan in the 1980s. A tidbit Simu was quick to point out and take a few issues with. His first criticism was a lack of pointing out the historical significance of boba tea, i.e. where it originates from. He also took issue with the idea of these, I don't know if they're white, I don't think they are white people, but for the sake of argument, these white people taking away something that's traditionally Asian and attempting to make profit off it without the quote appropriate representation, before going on to state that the reason he started his venture capital, i.e. why he was on the Shark Dragon show, was in order to fund minorities, without really explaining what type of minorities he meant, something I will get back to in a minute because it's relevant to this. Of course, this set off the worst possible side of TikTok ablaze, with the unrational screaming yes queen and slay, even though Mr. Liu did not explain what he meant at all. I want to preference this next little bit by saying I am not Benny Boy, I do not give a wet shit about politics, and I'd rather spend my time being a player trying to get this paper. But I will say this with, my chest out and my face on display, can we please stop pretending that Asians are somehow an empowered minority? Dude, 4 of the top GDPs globally are Asian countries. Statistically globally, Asians are more well represented than any other race in higher education, which as a natural result leads to high-paying jobs. Furthermore, Asia is easily the wealthiest continent on the entire planet, with some of the highest standards of living, from disposable income, life expectancy, healthcare, greater access to cheap and luxury goods, and also not to mention that they have the most billionaires on their continents than anywhere else in the world. There's 814 in China alone. Fuck you, dude. I'm not turning this into a political thing, but if I was black, I would be pissed off. Like me and my oaks, bro, we curb stomped Africa and took all the wealth for ourselves. That's the reality of it. These Asian oaks, on the other hand, they historically did it to themselves and then fought amongst themselves. And even after all of that infighting, almost every single one of them rose from the ashes way more prominent than before. While Africa is literally still burning. Then they want to act like they can somehow relate on the minority oppression tier list for something that is inherently a silly idea. Nah, I'm not having it, man. It's cheeky. It's really fucking cheeky. And to further point it out, Simu Liu, the man who has such a problem with cultural appropriation and sponsoring minorities, which I'm assuming he means Asian people who do not need it, is Chinese in origin who happen to grow up in Canada. Do you want to know the rate of higher education amongst the Asian demographic in Canada? Over 50%. Literally, if you factor in the overall Asian demo, meaning Korean, Japanese, West Asians, and even the Filipinos, it is 30% over any other ethnic group. God, I wish I was black right now, dude. I would be so angry. This is so disrespectful.